Steve Phelps just got steamrolled in court, absolutely flattened. On day 7 of the explosive showdown between 23XI Racing, Front Row Motorsports, and NASCAR, the so-called commissioner of stock car racing found himself buried under the weight of his own words. The courtroom didn't just react, they gasped. The moment everything blew open came when the plaintiff's attorney, Jeffrey Kessler, dropped a devastating piece of evidence, an email written by Phelps during charter negotiations. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't careful. It read, "They are playing with fire. Lots of options, but all have the same theme. Pick a date and they can sign or lose charters. It is that simple." Read that again. Sign or lose charters. That's not negotiating, that's delivering an ultimatum. It sounded less like something from a sports executive and more like a threat from a crime boss. Phelps tried to walk it back. He looked the jury straight in the eye and insisted, "That is not what happened." Kessler didn't blink. He fired back, "We'll let the jury decide." In that instant, the room shifted. A top executive caught in his own email, trying to convince everyone that what they read wasn't what they saw. And then came the money, a lot of it, pressed under questioning. Phelps had to reveal his salary, $2.5 million a year, up from $1.6 million back when he was just president. And that's before bonuses that can tack on another $2.5 million. Meanwhile, teams are fighting tooth and nail just to keep the lights on. Then there's the France family, the empire that owns NASCAR, who has taken home nearly $400 million over the last 4 years. Phelps tried to soften the blow, claiming 75% went to taxes, leaving only about $100 million. Try selling that to teams living week to week, scraping to survive, while NASCAR's royalty cashes checks you could build a racetrack out of. But things got even messier. Phelps was grilled on NASCAR's exclusivity agreements with tracks. He claimed he couldn't remember exactly when they started. Convenient, but a resurfaced article showed they date back at least to 2016, when Dover Motor Speedway signed a deal that raised eyebrows even then. Here's what that means. NASCAR pays tracks hundreds of millions, $311 million in 2024 alone, to keep events exclusive, to keep them from hosting other series. And $130 million of that went to tracks NASCAR doesn't even own. Why does that matter? Because economist Edward Snyder dropped a truth bomb. Those payments don't need to exist. Without exclusivity, tracks could host more events and make more money. In short, NASCAR isn't building the sport, it's building control. Snyder made it painfully clear. Instead of funneling millions into locked-up tracks, NASCAR could slash those payments or get rid of them entirely and send the money to the teams who actually put cars on the grid. But they don't, because the current system keeps all the power centered at the top. Between 2021 and 2024, NASCAR pulled in about $250 million a year, including land sales like Auto Club Speedway. The tracks cash in, NASCAR cashes in. Meanwhile, the teams doing the racing are left fighting for crumbs. And just when you think it can't get more surreal, Phelps defended the next-gen car with a straight face. "The racing is just better," he said. "I believe this is the safest car in all of motorsports." Really? Tell that to Kurt Busch, whose career ended in a next-gen crash. Tell it to Alex Bowman, to Eric Jones, to Noah Gragson, to Cody Ware, all of them sidelined by injuries in this safer car. Yes, the car survives big wrecks, but drivers' bodies don't. And Phelps trying to sell that line to a jury made it sound less like leadership and more like denial, because this trial isn't about one car or one email. It's about power, money, control. It's about how the sport is really run and how much the people at the top want to keep it that way. Phelps entered the courtroom as the boss of NASCAR. By the time Kessler and the witnesses were done, he looked like a man who got caught handling matches next to a gasoline drum. And the wild part? This thing isn't even close to over. Phelps has been grilled, exposed, and shaken. Next up, NASCAR CEO Jim France and team owner Richard Childress. And if you think Phelps had a rough day, Childress is walking in with decades of frustration, zero filter, and a reputation for lighting fuses. But before we get to the next explosion, let's look at Phelps's last attempt at damage control. He didn't just defend the money or the pressure tactics. He tried to claim the sport was thriving because of him. He doubled down again on the next-gen car, saying it accomplished everything he hoped. That's a huge claim, and it's exactly why so many people are furious. Sure, the racing is tighter, but tighter doesn't mean better. Drivers are complaining about dirty air, races with no passing, and a car that hits like a brick wall. Yet, here's the man at the top, insisting this is the best version of NASCAR ever. Tell that to the drivers nursing injuries. Tell it to Kurt Busch. Tell it to the teams stretched to their financial limit. Because of the track exclusivity deals, the profit margins, the charter threats, and the injuries show anything, it's this. The sport doesn't just have a problem, it has a system, and this trial is finally dragging that system into the light.